But in a smaller market, like Champaign, as you saw this morning, I mean, I do a lot of different things. I don't just do the Illini games. The Illini games are a huge part of it, obviously. And I have a busy weekend this weekend with Friday night, Saturday afternoon, or Saturday morning, and then Sunday afternoons. What you say? I do a lot of different things. I don't just do the Illini games. The Illini games are a huge part of it, obviously.
Wait, so did I hear Brian say that right? His job is a lot more than just announcing Illini football and basketball games. Well, I spent the whole day with him at the WDWS radio station, so let's see what really goes on in the life of the Brian Barnhart. Day started at 5:02 a.m. Here's a picture of me taking a selfie with my clock at 5:02 a.m. I got to the office at the crack of dawn at just about 5:40 in the morning, and it seemed like nothing more but just your typical office space. A bunch of cubicles, a bunch of desks, and basically nobody there. Brian gave me a quick rundown about the history of WDWS. WDWS is a heritage station in Champaign, and it was one of the first stations in town back in 1937. The building was built in 1940, and it sure looked like it from the way I saw. During the day at WDWS, Brian has a lot of different roles to take on. Sometimes he's actually hosting the radio show and also running the board, which is very similar to a board at WPGU here at the University of Illinois. Or sometimes Brian's the guy just telling the news or talking about sports on the morning radio shows.
Being colder today, sunny and a high of 49 in our forecast. Westerly winds 20 to 30. But hopefully not as gusty as it was yesterday. Well, an attorney for Professor Stephen Salidas says a settlement agreement approved by University of Illinois trustees yesterday is a major victory for his client, and he says it allows Salida to move on with his life. And Michael Kaiser has more in this report.
One of my favorite parts of the day was actually seeing Brian mess up. Brian records little news sound bites for a radio show. For example, maybe the 7:30 a.m. time slot needs a little news clip. He puts together a script, goes into Adobe Autoplay, and records his soundbite. But he actually messed up, which proved to me that even the professionals aren't always perfect.
WKIO News, 39 degrees here at the radio center. Western officials, including British Prime Minister David Cameron, say it's still not certain whether a U.S. drone strike killed the man that Cameron describes as the Islamic State group's lead executioner. All right, let me start this again. In 3, 2, 1.
Another duty of Brian's on Friday mornings when he's doing his radio show is a weekly feature with former U of I football player and director of the Activities and Recreation Center, Tony Clements, as they make their weekly picks for college football games. On this week, Illinois was playing the Ohio State Buckeyes, and they would end up losing 28-3. But a big part of Brian's job in this situation was to actually be the interviewer, not tell the news, but ask the news. Ask Tony what he thinks, listen, and respond back. So here's a clip of what Tony had to think about the Illinois-Ohio State game, with Brian giving some feedback throughout.
I love an Illinois-Ohio State game. Yeah. There's a lot of memories in the Illinois-Ohio State game.
Sure.
Everybody you talk
Thomas
to on
Brooks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Round the right end. He might score.
Oh, I was sitting there. Everybody you talk to on the street goes, I don't care who, if they don't even follow football, they go, we always play Ohio State tough. And we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Now, not the last 3 years necessarily, because they've rolled in the last 3 years. But this has a different feel about it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And this is what I want people to understand, because Illinois is getting plus 16, and I'm also going to pick them, and they go, what? That's the number one or number three or whichever ranking you're looking at, team in the nation. But listen to this. Ohio State beat Northern Illinois by 7. Mm-hmm. They beat Indiana by 7. They beat Minnesota by 14, and it was closer than that. They scored right at the end of the game.
Indiana.
Yeah, I put that down there. Yeah. Ohio State going for the 16th consecutive road win. You know, Meyer has never lost on the road. It's amazing. Since he got to Ohio State. So, but I think, and we're going to have a big crowd. I like that. Yeah. Big crowd. Illinois gets 16.
So now you have an idea of what Brian did on this Friday morning. So let's get an opinion from him on what he actually did and if his job is what you might say easy.
Out here at 6 a.m. this morning, I've been reading the news. I've been on 3 different stations all morning long. Basically, I've been recording newscasts. I've been preparing for sound bites for the basketball game Sunday. So there's a lot more to it. And in a market this size in Champaign, especially as you get started, you're going to be asked to do a lot of different things that you may not be necessarily related to what you're doing. But radio is very much a team effort, and everybody's kind of pull their part, pull their weight to make it work. And so that's, a lot of my stuff is that I do is in the morning. And so it's neat. I get in early, but I also get done earlier than most people. Basically, I'm off the air by 10 o'clock, roughly. And then I've got, usually some interviews I have to do, or for instance, today I'm emceeing the Quarterback Club Luncheon in Champaign for the football event. Bill Cubitt will be there and others.
And I actually had the opportunity to go to the quarterback luncheon on this Friday for the Ohio State game, as I took a selfie with interim head coach Bill Cubitt and heard players like Teddy Karras speak about their time in the Illini football program, among other things, as Brian emceed the event. But I also asked Brian for some advice, since I want to be an MLB announcer one day. What's his advice about getting into the announcing industry?
And I started minor league baseball when I was 21 years old, and it took me 12 years to get to the major leagues. I rode a lot of buses. I, traveled all over the East Coast. I was flying on planes all over the country. So yeah, and I always tell people that they're going to get into this, if you want to do, for instance, minor league baseball or be with a team, do it while you're young and single. Once you get married, then then you got your wife. Obviously, you're concerned about. She has a job. You have kids. You have responsibilities. Then it's a little trickier to move around much, and you've got to obviously pay your bills and make ends meet and so forth. So I always say if you're going to get into the minor league angle, especially, is to do it while you're young and just out of college, because it's a fun job. You're not going to get rich doing it, but you do get the play-by-play experience that really, really pays off. I think it did for me. Just all kinds of situations you're going to face that'll prepare you for when you later in your career.
But a really cool thing about spending a lot of time in Brian's office during the day was getting to see a lot of his memorabilia from his time as a journalist. He had a lot of media passes from special events, a picture with Joe Buck, also a picture with legendary Penn State head coach Joe Paterno, some more media passes from his time with the Illini, and of course more media passes because he's a very well-established journalist. But one of his favorite things was a team picture of the Anaheim Angels, even though he wasn't in the picture. Also, he spent time working with election committees, and also a picture with all of the Big Ten football announcers, which is one of his most prized possessions. So at the end of the day, I spent a lot of great time with Brian. He's a great guy, and I realized that if I was a journalist one day, I want to be just like him, because he's professional, works hard, and always cheers on the Illini.